Hey, everybody, this is Susan Martin from Bauer Center for the Arts, and you're listening to the Behind the Bauer podcast. Our show offers inspiring conversations, a fresh look at arts in our community, and provides spotlights on artists, performers, collaborative partners, educators, and organizations. We want to celebrate the universal expression of human experiences through the arts, culture, and throughout our community. So today, we're talking with Bauer Center board member Ryan Steffen, and we're going to discuss a little bit about his involvement with the Bauer Center for the Arts and learn everything there is to know about his involvement and his support of the organization, and learn about exciting details for our upcoming fundraising event. So welcome and good morning, Ryan.
Good morning, Susan. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for joining me. So I always like to start out by having our guests share a little bit about themselves and then maybe some information on kind of how and why you became involved in the Bauer Center.
Sure. So I grew up in southwestern Indiana, in a really small farm town called Jasper, Indiana. For as small of a town as it was, it had a really great arts community. So a great arts program, a great music program, a great theater program. And I guess I thought the whole world was like that. I found out that it was not like that. I moved to Cincinnati after I graduated college. I was a high school English teacher and a high school theater director for 21 years. And I directed for 17 of those 21. I, again, was lucky to work in a small town school in a northern suburb of Cincinnati where they really, really valued the arts. Again, really strong arts instructors, a strong music program. They still have a fully intact K through 12 orchestra program.
That's amazing.
Which are fading all over the country.
It definitely is.
So I felt very lucky to be able to teach for 20 years in a community that valued the arts as highly as they did. My husband and I moved to Bedford about 3 years ago to be closer to his family. And in that time, I also just kind of left teaching. And for about a year and a half, I had just a void of no arts at all, which just felt like I wasn't whole.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had met, I'm a bartender locally, and I met one of my bar guests who was on the board of the Bauer Center, and was like, we had a long conversation about what I was missing and why I was missing it. And she's like, I think I got a spot for you.
Uh-huh.
So Tony brought me in. And I'm super happy to be here now.
Well, we're very excited to have you. The Bauer Center obviously could not do and be where it is today without the support of our board members and all of the work that they do in ensuring that we are a vibrant organization and we're providing arts and cultural opportunities to everyone in our community. So, and you know, it takes a village, as they say, to support the arts. And it's really nice to hear your background and that there are still communities out there. We talk a lot, and we've had podcast discussions with our local art teachers who are amazing. And I'm so happy that Bedford still has active arts in the schools, and that Bauer Center can be a collaborative partner with them to make sure that we're ensuring that the children and the youth have that access. Yeah. We were just talking before we came on air. We're in the middle or the early week of our final summer art camp for youth. And while the noise and activity can sometimes seem like it's a hindrance to getting your job done that day, it's wonderful to hear. And as I was leaving the Bauer Center today, I was stopping in and taking some photos of the kids, and they're just so excited and they're having such a good time, and they're experimenting with so many different forms of art and just enjoying being creative. And so that's what, you know, makes this job so wonderful. Yeah.
When I was teaching high school, I used to run an elementary summer program, theater camp that my high school kids were my counselors, and they ran it. And what I love to see is just young people being very creative.
Mm-hmm.
I gave them very loose parameters and said, just figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
And I was amazed at times what kids can produce and how smart they can be if we give them the space and the ability to just be creative.
Right. And yes. Yeah. That's the wonderful thing too I love about our summer camps. And we do that with our instructors that volunteer their time and give, you know, of their energy to the kids. We keep it, you know, yes, there is some structure, but it's just a great, it's not like they're trying to fulfill anything in the school day. It's just the sky's the limit on what they can do. And I always like to share that, you know, one day during one of the camps, we had a kid and they were working on some projects working with clay and pottery. And the teacher was saying, you can create whatever you want. And she goes, you mean I don't have to follow the rules or follow directions? And they were like, nope, this, you do whatever you want. And so they're so grateful to be able to explore in that way.
And I don't think we're always aware of the seeds that we're planting. If you are 7 or 8 years old coming to a camp once, you may not have arts in your life again for 6 or 7 or 8 more years. And then you're like, what if I do this?
Right.
It was what brought me to the Bauer Center the very first time, before I even had talked to Tony, is, I had done art classes in high school. I had thrown clay on a pottery wheel when I was a junior. And I was like, well, I just want to try it again. So my niece who lives in town and I decided to sign up for one of the classes together to do one of the throwing classes. I'm still terrible at it. I have every bowl that I made that's sitting on a shelf in my house, and I'm super proud of every lopsided, terrible piece. But I think we forget sometimes that we're putting that seed into kids,
right?
And it may take a while to germinate, but if we give them something that is artistic from the beginning, hopefully they'll continue to develop that and encourage that in their own kids and their own family.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So putting you on the spot a little bit, after becoming involved with Bauer Center, what was one thing you were surprised to learn, or that you may think the community doesn't know about the center?
Just how much we have available in programming. I found it because I actively searched it out. And are there pottery classes somewhere close? And that's how I found it. I think a lot of people who drive by that building probably view it as an art gallery.
Right.
I work down the street. That's what a lot of people see it as, is, the pink building on the corner where there's art hanging on the walls. And that's definitely there.
Right.
But there's a whole lot more vibrancy and people creating in that space than just being a space to view art. And you may have to dig in and you may have to walk through the doors and ask a little bit, but there's definitely an opportunity for every age and everybody if you want to create in a space.
Yeah, that's wonderful information. I think that a lot of people feel a little intimidated, or maybe that they won't fit in. And that's the exact opposite of what our mission is and what we want.
Right.
Guests to feel when they come in the Bauer Center. So yeah, it's a great opportunity for if you just want to be exposed and view art and talk with studio artists that we have on site that are in studio and creating. But also if you want to get your hands dirty and get involved, we've got all kinds of art classes for both adult and youth throughout the year. So hopefully our listeners, some of them will take advantage of that. And we'll talk as I'm wrapping up a little bit more about the fact that our fall schedule is coming out right now. We've got some really neat
because Cassandra, my niece, has asked, we need to do an art class again. What are we going to do?
Yeah. Yes.
So I said, I'll look and see what we've got coming and I'll get back to you.
Yeah. Yeah. So for our listeners, Bauer Center for the Arts is a nonprofit organization. So what does that mean? We have to raise all of our money to offer the programming that we do. And fundraising is an extremely important component when it comes to the operations of our organization. And events are one of the ways that we support our mission, but also raise funds at the same time. Tell the listeners a little bit about how you've become more involved on the events side and are now our chairman of the Special Events Committee.
Yeah, so I volunteered to be chairman of the Special Events Committee, mostly because I've got a whole history of running productions, and that's kind of what a special event is it's a production. As you said, we're super financially responsible when we're running our classes, running all of that stuff, but we got a big building and we got a staff that we've got to pay for. And so fundraising becomes super important in making sure that it can pay for the things that a grant or an enrollment fee can't pay for. We do 4 different events each year, and we're working really hard right now on probably the biggest and most complicated one.
Right.
So that is, and I'm sure we're going to talk about that one.
We are in just a few minutes.
But the goal is that we can create events or find ways to help pay for the building and pay for the people that keep the center open. And I think a lot of people don't know that nonprofits don't have ways to do that very easily, unless we ask for money. And we all hate being asked for money, and I hate to ask for money, but that's literally what we're doing.
But if you come and enjoy a fun evening and you give through your ticket purchase or maybe an auction or something else going on with involvement of that event, that's a unique and fun way to support the
Right.
organization.
We're trying to sell an experience.
Right.
And so, we try to get sponsors. We try to be smart on the back end of putting it together so we can come out ahead and make some money off of it. But we're definitely trying to get people in there to have a fun night.
Right. Right.
And I know, talking to other people on the committee, we want to continue to expand, not necessarily big, huge things, but to continue to create special events that bring people in for an experience that at the end of the day still make us some money to help pay for those bills.
Right, right. Absolutely. Before we go into talking about our upcoming event, a little bit about the committee itself. We're always looking for volunteer participation, and one of those opportunities are definitely volunteering at an actual event, but you can also be involved in the committee itself.
Absolutely.
So if an individual were interested in getting involved in the committee, what might some of the roles and responsibilities look like with that?
I mean, to answer it broadly, if you like to plan an event or if you like to plan a party, this is for you.
Absolutely.
Because that's what you're doing. You're planning a party. You're getting to create themes, centerpieces. One of our board members right now and I are talking about what kind of centerpieces are we going to have at this new event. Like, if that sparks your fire, if that makes you creative, those are the things we're looking for.
Right.
Also, if you're logistical, I'm not always. So, like, you're good at the numbers and the schedules and the setting up all of that kind of stuff. Again, in terms of like planning a party or planning an event, we would love to have your help. Also, we just need workhorses sometimes.
Right.
So, people who can help set up the tables, take down the chairs. If you don't like to be in a period or in a position of decision making and you just want to work a little bit, we've also got places for you to do that as well.
Right, right. So anybody that's interested can reach out to Bauer Center. If they visit our website at bowercenter.org, there is a volunteer page and there is an opportunity for you to fill out an information page if you'd like to become involved. So if that's something that you're looking for, we'd love to have more involvement on the Special Events Committee. And we have other committees and other opportunities for involvement that are all highlighted on that page. So anybody can visit that and learn more, or just call. We'll be happy to talk you through what opportunities we
I'm
have
going to push a plug. I would love to see 2 or 3 community members join us in this committee who are going to know people, know resources, have ideas that we're not thinking of. That could help us come up with some cool ideas for the Bauer.
Right.
So you don't have to join the board. You don't have to do anything.
Nope.
Just come to a couple of meetings and be creative with us.
Yep. So let's specifically turn and talk about Bauer Center's, what we consider our biggest annual fundraising event called the Art of Pairing. Tell a little bit about our listeners today. We're announcing the new theme. We have launched the sponsorship opportunities for businesses and individuals to support the event, which assists with actually offsetting the overhead and the costs involved with putting on the event so that the income off of the ticket sales strictly come back in to support the Bauer Center and its mission. So we're always looking for sponsor support. But today, I want you to share our theme this year, and we'll also talk more about what they can see with the event. I do want to mention that we discussed several years ago, we always wanted to have a signature event for Bauer Center for the Arts, something that we become recognized for. And prior to COVID, we came up with the idea, the events committee at that point in time came up with the idea of the Art of Pairing. And the idea behind that was that each year we could switch that up and pair whatever we wanted to and change up the overall theme of the event. So that way you're not stuck with the same event year after year. Our first event was actually right before everything shut down for COVID, and we did the Art of Pairing, and we actually did a wine, chocolate, and cheese event. We held off on coming back to the event until last year just because individuals weren't quite ready to come back out and participate in large group settings. And last year, our committee brought back the Art of Pairing, and we did tacos and tequila, which was a lot of fun.
We did. That was my first real big event that I worked with at the Bauer. And I'm not going to say that I was the chair. I probably was the co-chair. No, I wasn't ready to be in charge yet.
Right.
But we definitely, I feel like, put together a really cool event for that. And spent a whole lot of that night talking about how are we going to make it better next year?
Right.
What do we do next year?
Right. So go ahead and I'll have you tell the guests this year what we're pairing, and we'll start talking a little bit about this event.
Yeah, so this year, this is the third annual event. It's going to be the Art of Pairing Bourbon and Blues. So we've got great live entertainment, a great live blues band set up for the evening. That was kind of the anchor that got us started, as we had a great musical guest. And then we just love the idea of bourbon. We did lots of discussions about where we head with that, and we decided we're going to highlight the local bourbons right now. So we are looking at bourbons that are produced somewhere in Virginia, some close, some a little bit further away. So we have 4 that we're going to highlight. And you'll get to see those as we release some of the publicity moving forward. But we've got 4 local bourbons, Virginia-made bourbons, that we will have on that tasting palette. We will also have some classic bourbons that will be available for purchase or to drink for the people who already know the bourbons they like. We will have those too.
Right. And we'll also, so if you're listening and you're like, I don't like bourbon, will there be other options?
Absolutely. We're going to have some wine. We'll have beer. We'll have sodas. So we'll have stuff for people that don't necessarily like bourbon.
Right.
The nice thing about a bourbon tasting is they're really tiny.
Yes.
So you don't necessarily have to feel like you're drinking a whole big glass of bourbon. Like, you'll just get a taste and get an essence of what it's going to be.
Exactly. And then there will also be some specialty cocktails available.
Right.
Created utilizing the bourbon. But
So we'll have some cocktails that'll be mixed in the moment. We'll also have some cocktails that are a bit more punch style. So your ticket will include 4 bourbon tastings, as well as one of those cocktails. And then we have just a fantastic menu set up for us.
I'm really looking forward to this.
So I pulled some strings with people I know, and Neil Agee is going to be our chef this year. And he's going to set up and partner with Chapel Creek, and they're going to create a small bite plate is how we're putting it together. So it's going to have Gouda grits as its base. It's going to have one of the proteins. So I know right now in our VIP section, we're offering a pork belly. Everywhere else, we're going to offer a brisket or a miso carrot for anybody who's vegetarian or alpha-gal. And 2 different cold salads that'll go with it. The stuff he's talked about looks beautiful. It sounds fantastic. He's getting ready to do some test batches here soon, so he and I can taste them and make sure that we like them, and also so we can get a couple photos of them.
There you go. Yeah. I'm very excited that we're using local people, locally sourced food. I mean, that's, cooking is an art form in itself, and so we're trying to make sure that everything we do, we're highlighting that creative side.
Right.
So, yeah.
And I know that I'm new to this community, but I'm very committed to helping this community grow and highlight the great stuff that's in it. So it felt smart for me to recruit people who are local. Neil is very well known in town. His cooking is very well known in town. In Chapel Creek, they're relatively new as a company, but they're hustling really hard and trying to get out there, and they've got a great product. We certainly have plenty of their meat in our freezer personally.
Yeah, we love Melody.
And so I'm excited to see what they come up with.
Yeah, and we'll be working on some future podcasts so we can have some of those folks in to talk a little bit more about what they do.
They would love to.
And their involvement with the event as well. You mentioned, I want to just bring up, you mentioned the live music that will be taking place. We're very excited that we will have kind of a blues club atmosphere to the event. And the live music is going to be Americana and blues singer-songwriter David Starr, and he will also be featuring a guest performer, Eric Stuckey. He's actually an international touring and recording artist, and David has actually been to the Bower twice in the past. We just love working with him. He's based out of Colorado. He records in Nashville, and he travels the world. They recently just got back from a tour. I believe they went to England and they were in Scotland. He texts me and keeps me up to date and sends me fun pictures along the way. And they just released, he and Eric Stuckey, who is a amazing mandolin player, just released a new blues CD at the beginning of the year, which is what kind of prompted us bringing them back. And you can check out David Starr. We have links for him on our website on the events page. He's played with performers like John Oates from Hall & Oates, Jim Lauderdale. So, please check him out. You're going to love the performance and the music. We're going to have plenty of seating and tables for you to sit down and just really enjoy the music this year as a part of the event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We definitely are embracing that whole like blues club style. That's what the committee has really decided we wanted to try to do, is to make it feel intimate, to make it feel small, to give you a place to sit down, listen and enjoy the music, chat with the people who are around you. We're also offering a section called the VIP section this year. Just going to be a place for those who want to pay a little extra for their ticket to escape. So we're working on lining up some more mellow performers, maybe just like some piano performers down there. A little bit extra food. We've got one extra food offering that we're going to have. Maybe a slightly better bourbon selection if you are a true bourbon drinker and would like a nice pour of something, to have that available down there.
And those tickets will be limited.
Those will be limited, and I think maybe they'll go faster.
I think so.
But I love that we've got almost two different clubs is the way that we've talked about it.
Right.
It's like the bigger Boulder club upstairs and the more private exclusive club downstairs.
Right.
And that's the idea that we've been working with as a team to figure out, like, how do we make those very different but approachable for everybody.
Awesome. Before we talk a little bit more about the event and the silent auction, I do want to mention, because I'm sure listeners are going, when is it? When is it? The event is actually going to take place on October the 19th from 7 to 9:30. The registration or opportunity to purchase tickets is actually live on the Bauer Center website today. And just to give you some information, an individual ticket just for the general admission to participate in the entire event is $65. A couple registration for that same ticket is $120, so you get a little bit of a break. And then the VIP ticket, which gives you access to everything, but also will give you access to the special VIP lounge. We're only offering an individual ticket on that, and that's $75, and it will be limited to 40 total guests. We realize that that's not a lot, but the Bauer Center, our ticket maximum capacity is about 150 for the event as a whole. And the space that we are going to utilize for the VIP lounge will only allow us.
It's only comfortable for 40.
That's right.
We don't want to pack it in too heavy.
No, we want to make it special. So please be sure to go to the website bowercenter.org, and under the events and performances, you'll be able to find more information on the art of pairing bourbon and blues. And so before we have to wrap up today, I do want to talk a little bit about the silent auction, because for those that may have attended last year's, this one is going to be different. So tell a little bit about the silent auction.
Yeah, we tried to just think of a different way to approach it. And rather than having gift baskets that feel like they're just kind of thrown together with things that we could find, we wanted to be a little bit more intentional with how we're doing that. We don't have a monster budget, but we did get a donation of about 13 bottles of bourbons that are maybe not so easy to find in Virginia. With that, we're going to try to pair pieces that are created by artists or artisans that have a little gift to go with it. Maybe that is connected to that particular bottle or that particular bourbon, or maybe just a piece of art in general that's been donated. Right. So when you're bidding on an item, you're bidding on a bottle of bourbon as well as a piece of art. And so we're trying to be a little bit more intentional with that.
Right.
I'm excited. I've had different artists show me things that they are creating, things that they've put together. I'm really excited to see how that pans out.
Yes, there's some great things. And I do want to mention that if anybody that's listening is interested in creating something to donate to the silent auction, we are accepting and anybody that's creative, an artist. We do have some information that I have put out first to our studio artists at Bauer Center for the Arts, and I'm going to be making public following this podcast out to the community. We'd just like for you to let us know that you're going to be creating something, and then if you want to see images or come by the office and see the actual bottles of bourbon, because if you want to style your design that might pair nicely with the shape or color of the label or the name I've even had some artists that are excited about the name of the bourbon, and they're using that to put that into the design. Some examples that I want to share that have already been donated is we have a beautiful donation of a bar that has been created out of an old bourbon barrel. I'm so excited for it. I mean, it is just gorgeous. And we also have some handcrafted wooden coasters to go with several of the bottles of bourbon. And then we also have an artist that's designing handmade clay ceramic bourbon drinking glasses to go with some of the selections as well. So that's just some examples, but it could be art that hangs on the wall. It can, and it can be more than one piece of art that will be packaged with that bottle of bourbon, because the more funds we can raise with these silent auction art and bourbon packages, the more support we'll give back to the Bauer Center program.
And Susan knows this. I love bourbon, but I also love to purchase unique art. So I am personally really excited to see what we can get together with these. If you are wanting to produce a piece, don't feel like it has to be complementary to that bourbon. It could just be a piece that you are willing to give.
Right.
And hopefully
Absolutely.
it is a piece of art that will speak to someone.
Right. And we also discussed that if we had an abundance of art donated, we could have pieces of art available in the auction separately. They wouldn't necessarily have to be paired with the bottle of bourbon. But we just thought that it would be fun that if some artists got creative and created things that went along with bourbon, that would be a fun.
I think it'd be cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see the pieces.
I'm very excited. Like I said, I think it's just going to be fun and something that folks are going to be able to take home that they'll be able to use. And maybe once they crack open that bottle of bourbon and drink it, then they'll still have a piece that reminds them of.
And as an art collector myself, one of the things I love is every piece that I have has a story. And if you ask me about it, I'll tell you the story. And so I'm hoping, again, that that's what we're creating here, is if someone has donated a piece and they bought it at an auction, they can tell the story. That they got it through the Bauer Center, that they got it through this event, that they knew that their money was going to pay to pump up the arts in their own small town.
Right. So you'll be hearing more about the art of pairing on our future podcasts. As we're developing the sponsorships, we'll be talking with some of our sponsors that will be participating in future podcasts as well. And as I mentioned, the information is now live. Tickets are available for purchase. So don't sit on this, because it is a limited quantity total of tickets. And once they're gone, they're gone. So we really appreciate the support. And we'll be putting out emails to past supporters and attendees of past events in Art of Pairing. So if you think this sounds like something fun that you're interested in, I wouldn't wait on that. So I want to thank Ryan as I wrap up for joining me today and for all you do to support Bauer Center. Your time and energy is amazing, and we're just very appreciative of that. As I'm wrapping things up, I want to remind everybody that we are launching fall classes currently for adults and youth. Some are now registering. We're adding new classes daily. We do have some great clay and pottery classes and workshops. We're so excited because we have some wonderful instructors. We've added some new clay instructors, and we recently had an interview. If you go back to our podcast with Thomas, who's just joined us, and these are just very popular and going really well. And there's all different levels. We're getting into some more intermediate classes and all kinds of different forms of working with clay and pottery. We have some great wet felting workshops coming up and a wreath making felting workshop. So if you're just interested in something that's a one-time workshop so that you don't have to commit to 6 weeks of class, those are great opportunities. And then I'm very excited because we just posted last week, we have a beginner mountain dulcimer group lessons coming up, and it'll be a class size of no more than 10. And we're really excited about that. I think I'm actually interested in that. I think it would be a lot of fun.
I am too.
We'll have different painting classes coming up. And we also have a Santasia Father Christmas workshop already on the schedule so that you can create it and have it ready in time for the holidays. So that one's coming up. I think that one will be in October. Tickets are on sale for 2 great concerts coming up in August. The popular local trio Nightcap that plays an eclectic mix of American folk music on Saturday, August 10th. And then the return of an Americana folk rock artist, Dana Cooper, who's a national touring recording artist, will be joining us on Friday, August the 30th. So all the advanced tickets for our concerts, our events, registering for classes, that's all available at bowercenter.org. And lastly, I mentioned at our last podcast that we're currently closed to walk-in guests due to construction taking place. After the removal of the stained glass window, we've had a lot of discussion and questions about that. The window is down, and we're wrapping up closing in that space and preparing the space. So I want to remind guests we will be installing 2 new solo art exhibits on August the 19th, and we look forward to sharing more information on those and interviews with those artists on future podcasts. So we encourage everyone to keep listening. Thank you again to Ryan for joining us, and this has been Behind the Bower.